Why another lesson on the pentatonic blues scale? There must be a million of them out there, right? Well, first, I really want to emphasize the importance of these scales. Not only do they form a large percentage of the vocabulary of most styles of music, but they also form the foundation for learning other scales and learning other patterns such as the cage shapes, as well as giving you a foundation to truly learn your way around the fretboard. Secondly, a lot of methods show the pentatonic patterns, show you how to play them, and even a way of memorizing them, but still leave the student wondering how to make music out of them. Consequently, the student is left thinking that there's more, and they study more and more advanced material. The fact of the matter is, if you weren't comfortable with any other scales but had completely mastered the major and minor pentatonic blues scale, you'd be in very good shape to create a solo over most of the things that came your way, as well as have a firm foundation for success. This video will cover the first pentatonic pattern. I'll cover the other pentatonic patterns in their own mini lessons. Each lesson will build on each other until you're weaving the whole fretboard together using these pentatonic shapes. So you don't miss any of this information, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell when I post a new video every Tuesday. So what is the pentatonic scale? Well, it's a 5-note scale that corresponds to the major or the minor scale with a couple of notes removed. Let's look how it corresponds to the major scale first. If we took a 1-octave C major scale, starting on our 8th fret here, and if we remove the 4th degrees and the 7th degrees, we would end up with a 5-note scale that looks like this. Okay, and we can continue that up another octave. So we take those same set of 5 notes and just do it in another octave. So we end up with a full pattern that looks like this. Now, what is this blues scale that everyone talks about? Well, that's just the pentatonic scale with one added note. And in this case, we're going to add the note here and the note here. It's the same note, just octaves apart. So now, adding that note into our pattern, we'll get a pattern that looks like this. Okay, this is good. We've got a scale, a pentatonic pattern, but how are we going to use it to start making music? Well, the next thing you want to do is orient yourself with scale patterns in relation to a chord and an arpeggio. So, with our root on the 6th string, this relates to a G chord form. If we took our G chord and slid it up, we now have a C major chord form, and it relates to that pentatonic blues pattern. Now the arpeggio that goes with that you want to know is this. Now, I recommend that you learn the major and the minor pentatonic patterns all at once because you're doubling your information, doubling your effectiveness, but only learning one piece of information. It's the same pattern. All that you have to do is view the A here is your root for minor. C was your major root, A is your minor root. So, if A was your root, slightly different tonality because we're in A minor now. But that relates to the E minor bar chord form, and your arpeggio looks like this. So those are the 3 pieces of information you want to know for your major and your minor pentatonics. What's the scale shape? What's the chord form that it relates to? What's the arpeggio of that chord? So now that you understand the scale pattern, the arpeggio, and the chord form, it's largely up to you to do the work and really pound this stuff into your head. However, there are a couple of things that you can do to really get this stuff under your fingers. Sequences really help get a new pattern under your fingers. So something like this. Or this. Another good thing to do with every pattern is to learn some licks that can be made out of it. Now, this shape happens to be home to a host of classic licks. This is a really classic repeating lick that comes right out of this scale pattern. Or this one is another one. You could also even stretch and add an extra note there for a very Metallica, Kirk Hammett type of thing. Now the next thing that you can do is have a little bit of fun and create your own licks. Now let's just say that we're in the key of A minor, and as long as you resolve to any of those notes that belong in that chord or arpeggio, it's going to sound great. Well, that's it for lesson 1. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to go over another scale pattern as well as start combining the two. It's going to get a lot more challenging, a lot more interesting. You don't want to miss it.